Hari Om, everybody. Last week, we are in the portion of the second chapter, which is where Bhagwan is talking from the highest, from the absolute standpoint. And in verse 21, last week we saw from there, Bhagwan wonders. It's a wonderment. He wonders that if a person really comes to know, comes to realize that he is that Atma, then how can he do anything? How can he kill anybody? How can he get killed? So it's Bhagwan is wondering. And then Bhagwan gives an example, Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya, just like when our clothes get old or we don't like them or they tear or whatever, we just change clothes, we throw those away and get new ones. Or when we are going to, if I have, for different events, I change my clothes. When I'm sleeping, I have a different kind of type of clothes, and if I'm going out and all that. So the body keeps on changing clothes. That way, this Jivatma keeps on changing bodies. For a realized master, it is not Jivatma anymore, it is Atma. So the body doesn't change. When the body falls, that is the end of the journey for the realized master. But for us, for ignorant, for those who have not yet realized that Atma, then it is called a Jivatma because it is carrying a baggage with it. What is the baggage? It is the baggage of desires in subtle form. And those desires prompt that Jivatma to take up another body. The question might arise that the topic is going on of Atma. So suddenly why did Jivatma? You can understand it as, because Atma cannot move. That is the point. Atma is all pervading. If Atma is all pervading, where will it move to? Like, where will it go and find another body? So you can understand it like a tree standing at one place. So the substratum remains unchanged and bodies keep coming on it. Like the tree, the leaf falls and the leaf comes on the same tree. The tree doesn't move or go look for a leaf somewhere. In autumn, the leaves fall, and then in spring, the leaves come back and the tree is stationary. So you can take it as that way as well. And then Bhagwan goes to explain that no water, earth, means the 5 elements cannot touch it. And okay, weapons, Shastra, Astra, nothing can cut Atma. I told you that even space we cannot cut, even water we cannot cut. So these elements which we cannot touch in that sense, you know, how can we, Atma, which is even subtler than the elements, how can that Atma, how can we cut that Atma? The other way of looking at this verse is that the Atma is in a different plane of consciousness. And the example is, if I have a fridge full of food in my dream, I dream that my fridge is full of food, and then when I wake up, I'm hungry, and I open my so-called real fridge, and there's no food. Now that food from the dream cannot satiate my hunger in the waking state, because it's a different plane of consciousness. So Atma is on a different plane of consciousness, and the elements are on a different plane of consciousness. So these elements cannot touch Atma, which is in a different plane. So that also should be understood. So the point that Bhagwan is making is, no matter which way you look at it, that Atma cannot be touched. Atma cannot die, Atma is not born, Atma doesn't change, Atma doesn't, it doesn't have an inherent change in itself, it has no movement, it doesn't grow, it doesn't have any disease, decay, and obviously there is no death. That is the point that Bhagwan is hammering. And the reason I told you, Bhagwan Shankaracharya says in his commentary that if you feel that this is a repetition, please understand that this is not an easy topic to understand. It is definitely not an easy topic to swallow. And that's why Bhagwan is hammering it. Arjun, understand, understand, understand. You're grieving so much that you're going to be killing them. You cannot kill them. You cannot kill them. Even if you want to, you cannot. And to understand, to get this with jnana, this wisdom is very difficult, because we are so established in the body. Okay. Now, also in 24, Bhagwan says, same thing, the self cannot be cut, nor burnt, nor wetted. So it's referring to all the cut is by weapons, burnt is by fire, wetted by water, dried by air. So that means he's talking about all the elements. They cannot touch him. And now he begins about 5 or 6 verses, where the term na anushochitum arhasi is going to be coming, and he will be talking. He talks from different standpoints. So the first standpoint that he takes up is the absolute one in 25, where he said this self, means this Atma, is unmanifest. And unmanifest, I told you, is that which cannot be perceived by the senses. So we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot smell, we cannot taste, and we cannot touch. So this Atma is unmanifest. It cannot be perceived by the senses. And achintya, okay, then can I think about it with my mind intellect stuff? No, you cannot think about it with the mind. You have to transcend the mind. Through the mind and intellect, we understand what the scriptures are telling us, but for ultimate realization, we have to transcend the mind intellect. Therefore, this avyakta referring to the sense organs, and achintya referring to the king of the sense organs. So, okay, sense eyes don't see, but mind, because see, there are things which the mind can see, which the senses cannot see. Whatever the senses sees, the mind sees. Okay, so if I'm seeing you, then my mind also is seeing you. Whatever, if the nose is smelling something, the mind can understand it. All right, but the mind can have certain like anger. Suppose if I'm angry or I'm happy, then the eyes don't know that I'm angry. Nose doesn't know. So what the senses know, the mind definitely knows, but what the mind feels or knows, the senses may not know. They don't know actually. Okay, so that's why both are used. Avyakta and achintya, both are used, because okay, the senses don't see, maybe mind can see, because what the mind can see, the senses don't see. Like I can see my house in India in my mind. Now, do you think my eyes are actually seeing that house? No. So that's why Bhagavan says, no, even the mind cannot see it. The mind cannot perceive it. The mind cannot understand it. Okay. We have to actually understand what it is not. And from there, we have to go to Atma. This is why the neti method is there. Anyway, unthinkable intellect, okay, mind intellect, and unchangeable. It does not change in the 3 periods of time. It remains the same. That's why we have heard words like sthanu, achala, sanatana, purana. It's unchanging. And then if you know that Atma like that, what is there to grieve? Na anushochantim arhasi. Vedanta doesn't posit grief at all, at any level. Now, yesterday, last night, Tripti and I, we heard another a spiritual talk in Marathi, which I've always mentioned. Samarth Ramdas is an Advaitin master who gained Advaita through bhakti of Sri Ram. And I've already told you that he has written these 205 verses to the mind. And it just so happened, that's why I feel it's like my prarabdha. Just last night, he read a verse, he explained a verse actually, which ties in exactly with na anushochitum arhasi. Am I right, Tripti? Right? So Tripti and I are looking at each other and we're like just going, not laughing, but like smiling, because what Bhagwan is saying in these verses, Samarth Ramdas has exactly said the same thing in this verse. So I just quickly want to go over this verse because it is so much tied into this Bhagavad Gita. Mana manasi dukkhanunok. I don't know how many, I think only one person understands Marathi, but I will translate it. Mana manasi dukkhanunokore. So Samarth Ramdas is talking to his own mind. That's why it is called verses to the mind. So all the verses are, oh mind, don't do this. Oh mind, do this. So he's talking to his mind. He says, Mana manasi dukkhanunokore. He says, oh mind, don't be sorrowful. Don't be sorrowful. Why? Because there's nothing to be sorrowful about. There's nothing to be sorrowful about. Next line. Mana sarvatha shoka chinta nakore. Oh mind, never have grief, shok, and chinta, worry. Worry is about the future, and shoka is about what has already happened. Because, yesterday, oh geez, I should have taken that's this thing, and then I would have not been late. So shok is about something that has happened. Chinta is something that is worry. Worry is about because we cannot worry about something that happened yesterday. I'm going to worry about something. Oh, tomorrow, what if it snows? Tomorrow, what if I get late for my appointment? So anything that is going to come in the future, I worry. So he says, oh mind, don't have sorrow for what has happened. Don't worry about something which is yet to come. Okay. Viveke deha buddhi soduni deavi. Viveke. Vivek word we have heard 100 times. By discrimination, deha buddhi. Deha buddhi is I am the body. Atasmin tat buddhi. I explained in Vivek Chudamani. That which I am not, I have the sense of I-ness and minus in that. So deha buddhi is that. Deha buddhi is where my intellect thinks that I am deha, I am body. So he says, oh mind, by discrimination, give up this thought that I am the body. Okay. Videhi pane mukti bhogi tazavi. Videhi also word we have heard. Videhi means standing apart from the body. The sorrows of the body go titiksha, have patience. Now the explanation that he gave is very beautiful also. I'll quickly tell you that because it gave me so much pleasure to listen to the lecture. Am I right, Tripti? I think Tripti was enjoying too, right? That I can't but help tell all of you because it's like so very true. So mana manasi dukhano no kore. So what he said was, why should the mind not be sorrowful? First reason he says is if any sorrow has come, which all these things I have also explained, but I'm going to explain to you again. When anything comes to us, sorrow or happiness, first number, it's my own karmas that have brought it. So no blame game. I have done something in the past for which I deserve this sorrow or I deserve this happiness also. I told you, I can see a snake, I can see a garland as well. So, okay, but happiness we don't mind. That's the problem. Happiness we don't mind if happiness comes. When sorrow comes, we object. So he says, first is it's your own prarabdha. Second is, he says, dukkha, sorrow is a result of papa karma, demerit. So when the sorrow comes, know that your papa is reducing. So be happy. And when happiness comes, know that your punya is reducing. So be sorrowful. Oh my God, now my punya balance is going down. So that is another reason. So when you get sorrow, when sorrow comes to you, understand that you have yourself done it. Understand that your papa karma is reducing. Your balance of papa is reducing. So good. That's good because that means your balance of punya is increasing. And the third reason he gives is that sorrow comes, which Gurudev has said, sorrows come, but to be or not to be miserable is my choice. Sorrow will come because you have done actions like that. Sorrow will come. So he gave the example of his guru from whom he learned Vedanta. He says that it's a couple and they lost their young daughter. That's the hardest. And apparently the wife came and told him that, of course, she calls him by name. So she says, Makaranda, I was very sad, but my husband was not that sorrowful. Our daughter passed away, but he's not. So when he spoke to the father, he said that sorrow, the wave comes, but it should never become a tidal wave. Like tarang will come, means this wave of sorrow will come. And yes, that wave will be felt. It is not like I don't feel. But to get overpowered, and that is what I said, like emotion is there, but to get overpowered by emotion is what Vedanta objects to. Like you will feel, like he said, a realized master, if he touches something hot or steps on a thorn, of course he's going to feel. Of course he's going to feel the pain in the body. Okay, so when I separate myself, therefore viveke deha buddhi. So when the body, see, there is a sorrow that the body goes. What is the sorrow of the body? I touch something hot, I step on a thorn, disease is there, decay is there, right? That is directly concerning the body. So when things happen to the body, then he says that you separate yourself from the body and you actually have a dialogue with the body. So when you're having when there is a dialogue, there are two entities there. So separate yourself. He says, okay, my knee, he took the example of knee paining. So he says, okay, knee, you are hurting. I will put oil on you. I will take some medicine, but tomorrow I have to go for satsang. So you please behave, okay? Don't hurt me because I have to sit for satsang for 1 hour. So please don't hurt at that time, okay? Have a dialogue with the body. So when the word dialogue comes in, you have separated yourself from the body. Like I told you, have a dialogue. Bhagwan Shankaracharya, of course, talks in his Upadesh. He says, have a dialogue with your ego only, which is very subtle. This body is at least gross, at the gross level, because he says, dehe dukkha sukha mane jave. And the other thing about the body is that the sorrow to the body, you should consider is it as a joy coming. Like example he gave is, when I'm told to lose weight and I'm told to get up early in the morning and go for a walk, it is dukkha to the body. Right? Because now I have to get up early, I have to go for a run, I have to go for a walk, I have to go to the gym, I have to exercise. When I exercise, it hurts, it's hard, it's difficult, but understand that it is going to give you good health. So that dukkha that I am putting my body through right now will give me joy in the future. So he says, oh mind, consider this sorrow of your body to be a joy which is going to come to you, because in the form of good health. Because now you're exercising the body, now you're eating the right things. He said, yeah, we like things, and then those which we like are not good for us. So you eat diet food. He said, no saltless food, this food, and now it's dukkha for the body. No, because the tongue likes, all these nice, tasty things. But now you're feeding the body untasty things. But what it is going to give you is health, which is more important. So this is how he explained. So that's what I wanted to share, because this na anushochitum arhasi is going to come again. And now it comes again. Ath chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitum arhasi. But even if you think of him as being constantly born and constantly dying, even then, O mighty armed, you should not grieve. This is a different standpoint. See, the first one I told you, 25, from the absolute, he says, if you know yourself to be the Atma, is there anything to grieve? Nothing is happening to that Atma. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can kill it. Okay. You don't understand that standpoint, Arjun? Okay. Chalo. You think you're the body? Fine. Think yourself to be the body. Okay. But constantly body is born. You saw the body being born, like that your body was born, and you've seen so many other deaths happening. Okay. So what is born is going to die, and it will be born again. So what is there to cry? This is the Charvak theory. See, there is the Charvak school which says that there was nothing before birth, there's nothing after death. Okay, then you enjoyed your life and the body was born and the body is dead, and there'll be another body that is being born. So what is there to grieve? Then there is the Kshanikvad in Buddhists who say that consciousness is born and consciousness dies with every thought. Okay, so it dies. It died now. This body died. You think that everything died. Consciousness died. It will be born again. So what is there to cry? That's why Gurudev has said, if you think life is a comedy, if you feel life will always be a tragedy. So okay, if you know yourself to be the Atma, nothing to grieve. If you think you're the body, okay, body will die. Which body has not died? There's a story which came to my mind. See, Gautam Buddha, one lady came to him. Her young boy had died, her young child. She brought the body and she said, I have heard so much about you. You make my child alive. So he said, I will. But then there is my one condition is also there. She said, what condition? He says, you go and find out in which house death has not happened. Bring me one house. Bring me one example where death has not happened. I will make your child alive. So she goes. She thinks, oh, yeah, of course. And she cannot find a single house. She says, has anybody, they say, yes. Has anybody died in your house? Yes. You in your, yeah. She cannot find. So if you think that you're the only one in your family, only look around. Now look, COVID. Every time I talk to my family, my friends, last year it was I had not heard. Now, just this morning, I was talking to my childhood friend, her uncle. I said, COVID? Yeah, she said, absolutely, COVID, 5 days. So every person that in India that I'm talking to or I'm hearing, somebody or the other has gone. Where has death not happened? Okay, so if you think that this body is going to, okay, it will be born again. So what is there to grieve? What is there to grieve? And like yesterday he said, that tarang, that sorrow will be there. But to get overpowered by it, to get depressed by it. I've seen people who are depressed for 2 years when their husband 80 plus having heart attacks after heart attacks died. And then this woman who's already, she's also past 70. She's in depression for 2 years. 2 years depression. Is there any need? Should it be there? So therefore he says, with this, if you think that this birth and death is constantly happening, then birth will happen again, death will happen, birth will happen again. Next, now he goes to the subtle body. He's talking about the gross body over here, okay? If Atma, nothing is happening. If you think yourself as Jivatma, Jivatma will come again. If you think yourself as body, body also will be born again in a different form, because body is only the 5 elements. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad pariharyethe natvam shochitum arhasi. For certain is death for the born, and certain is death for the dead. Therefore, over the inevitable, you should not grieve. So subtle body, this is talking about the subtle body. This Jivatma gets born. I've given you the technical details, how the Jivatma comes to enter that shell which the parents create. The Jivatma is already there, present. It is, the parents cannot create, otherwise it will be like we created Atma, but already Atma is said to be unborn and uncaused and undying. So how we can create Atma? So we cannot create Jivatma. Jivatma is already there. It finds itself, it chooses the womb that it wants to go into, the choices as per its past karmas. It will come into that womb, it will get born, it will live for us. It's a tenant. The Jivatma is only a tenant in the body, in the home that we have provided. The tenant lives there as long as it wants to live, and it leaves. It does not say there are young parents, there are young children, there are old parents, there are this, there are that. No, no, it leaves. Okay. Jatasya hi dhruvo. Dhruvo is certain. For certain there is death for the one who is born. And there is certainly a birth for the one who is dead. Because this is Jivatma. So the Jivatma has birth. Unless you realize yourself, there is no birth. But if you have not realized yourself as that Atma, there definitely is birth. Then what is there to cry? That's why Gurudev has said, please, if you don't want to die, please do not get born. He actually requests us, please. Otherwise, I cannot do anything. Sorry, you are born, you are going to die. Gatasuna, agatasuncha. 2 lines, only 2 lines. No third line. So what is there to cry? What is there to cry? What is there to grieve? Tasmad aparyaya. It's inevitable. It is inevitable. I've also told you the story of the king who wanted his baby. They killed, the other queens killed his baby, and then Narad Bhagwan brought the Jivatma, and he says, what parents? I've gone through so many sets of parents, Baba. If I keep crying for you, then I'm crying for the whole time. I do not cry. We get attached because we think it's mine. Me and mine is the problem. So not that you don't take care of your child, okay? It is given to you in trust. The child is under your care. He has been given to you. You take full care of it. Like you take full care of the body. That's also he said yesterday. I felt very good. He said you have to take care of the body. You must. But don't think that it is you. Don't think that is you. He says if your body is sick, you do whatever. You take your painkillers, you do surgery, you do treatment, natural treatment, diet, whatever that is required to keep the body healthy. It must be kept. It is our vehicle. Okay. So this is what I said. Now, next. He comes back to the gross body in 28. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidhananneva tatra ka paridevana. Beings are experienced to be unmanifest in their beginning, are seen to be manifest in their middle state, O Bharata, and are noticed to be unmanifest again in their end. What is there then to grieve about? So before birth, that child was not seen or anything, you know, unmanifest, right? But this is where logic, I'm going to try and explain this, the logical explanation of this again. If I think some of you should be able to follow it. The logic of birth, how do I know that birth has happened? That is the logically, logically. So when do I say that birth happened? Like till yesterday, this child was, I couldn't see this child, right? Now this mother has gone into the hospital and now suddenly I see this child. And then I am there as a conscious entity, either I or the mother itself or the doctor. That mother only will be the best. Like till yesterday, I couldn't see this child. She could at least feel. So you can take the doctor's example. The doctor did not, that physician could not feel or perceive the child or see the child. Then that mother comes into the hospital and then that child gets born, becomes manifest, because now that baby can be seen by everybody. So the doctor is saying that birth has happened. She's there to vouch for that birth. That child, which was unmanifest till an hour ago, is now manifest. When death happens, what happens? What is manifest? The person is there. Somebody is there watching that person. And then next minute, that person is not breathing again. So this person who is witnessing that death says death has happened. That's the logic. So if we were to say that Atma has got birth and Atma has got death, okay, if we were to say that, logically it doesn't make sense, because Atma is that existence principle. If it was born, then who was there before its birth to claim that this Atma was not there? See, there is an existence principle in the doctor, right? She is a conscious, he or she is a conscious entity saying that this child was not there an hour ago. That same conscious entity is saying, oh, this child is there now. Therefore, I give a certificate that this birth happened at this time, at this place, etc., etc. Okay. The doctor is there again, say at the end. And then there is this person. The doctor says, I saw this person breathing and alive. And now I don't see him breathing and alive. So I give a certificate, a death certificate. But this conscious entity was there before death and after death. Now, that here we are talking about people, means body. Okay. Now you consider that the body is not there, the Atma is there. Now, if Atma, which is existence, consciousness principle, is born, who was there before to say that this birth happened? Are you getting it? How many people are getting this? Well, Meera, you getting it? Doctor should get it. Shanta, Shriram, you're getting it, right? Gita, you getting it? No? This is logic. This is logic, okay? If you don't get it, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Birth, somebody, a conscious entity has to be there to validate birth. A conscious entity has to be there to validate death. And the validation of birth is that yesterday this was not there, today this is there. Death is today this thing is there, tomorrow it is not there. And that is what the validation is. That validation cannot be given in case of Atma. Think about this. That validation is not there. Therefore, logically also we cannot say that Atma was born and Atma is going to die. Because there is Shruti, there is Yukti, and there is Anubhuti. Okay, birth and death, Anubhuti, to we know of the body. Body will be born, body this thing. So that we know. Now here what he says is this gross body, that's why he says it was not manifest first. Now it is manifest. Now it will become unmanifest. What becomes unmanifest will become manifest at a future date and time. You won't know it as the form. That is for sure. That same form is not going to come back. But that form which merges into the 5 elements, those same 5 elements, there is no other different material. Think about it. There's only these 5 materials from which everything is happening. So that same 5 materials will come back as another form. So what is there to grieve? What is that? Pratra ka paridevana. Why grieve? You do feel sorrow, but don't be very, very miserable or sorrowful. Okay, this is what he says. Now he says in the next verse, Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidena, Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah, Ascharyavat chainamanya shrunoti, Shrutva penam vedana chaiva kaschita. One sees this as a wonder, another speaks of this as a wonder, another hears of this as a wonder, yet having heard, none understands this at all. Note that the word this is with a capital T. So which indicates to us that this word quote unquote this is referring to Atma. Okay, so Bhagavan is saying here, Ascharya, this word, aha asmin charate iti ascharya. That is the break of the word ascharya. Okay, which means ascharya is that wonder which, you know, when you go, and honestly, the first time when I saw Niagara Falls, it was like, you're in awe. You're in awe. That is what ascharya is. There is a Marathi abhanga. Abhanga is a bhajan, like a bhajan only. So that the bhajan goes this way, that, oh, you know, I was suffering in this ocean of sansar, and then my guru helped me cross the ocean, and when I crossed, I turned back and I saw there was no ocean and there was no guru. That is ascharya. That is how much I was suffering. And I know there was a guru and that he helped me out of the suffering. And now there is no guru, there was no suffering at all. Ascharya, ascharya, wonderment, wonder. So Bhagavan says here, Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidena. It is a wonder if someone sees. Sees means here knows, huh? Because nobody can actually see, physically see. So it is a great wonder if some people come to understand this. And also Ascharyavat vadati tathavi. So nobody can see, but it's a great wonder that people are talking about it. Realize Shruti is talking about it, realize masters are talking about it, we are talking about it. It's a very great one. Why? Because, see, you can speak of something which you can perceive, which you can understand. How do you speak of something which is beyond the mind? Already he said, achintyam. You cannot think about it by the mind. You cannot perceive it by the senses. And yet you're speaking, yet masters are speaking. This is a great wonder. Something that cannot be thought of. Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya. Even though it is a great wonder that people can't see and people can't understand, people are still talking about it. That's also a great wonder. Ascharyavat manya shrunoti. Okay, it is a great wonder that, you know, somebody is talking, but great wonder that some few people are sitting and listening also. Because in chapter 7, Bhagavan will say, even here it says, that having heard none, that among thousands manushanam sahasreshu. Now Gurudev's yajna is going on, so he's doing chapter 7, so please listen to that. So there Bhagavan says that among thousands and thousands of you, only hundreds come to aspire to want to know me, and out of the hundreds, maybe one might reach me. Maybe that's why in Vivek Churamani, Bhagavan Shankaracharya said it is very, very rare. Human birth itself is rare. Finding a guru is rare. Listening to him, staying with him is rare. It is great punya if we continue on this path. People drop out like anything from this path. So if we have stayed on this path for a certain amount of time, consider that it is great merit that you have done. So it's a great wonder that people are on this path. It is a great wonder that people are speaking. It is also a great wonder that people are listening. And this is a wonder. And having heard that, he doesn't say Ashcharya. In the last word, this thing, having heard, this last line does not have the word Ashcharya. So it is not a wonder that having heard, people don't understand it. That is not a wonder. That is very common, because it is not an easy topic to understand. That's why Bhagwan goes on hammering, hammering, hammering. Shutva penam vedana chaiva kaschita. The common, way to know things for us, and this is anubhuti, this is our experience. There are four things by which we come to know things. Okay. One is what is known as guna. Guna is attribute. One is kriya. Kriya is action, profession. One is sambandha, a relationship. Okay. So there is guna, kriya, sambandha, and then there is what is known as jati. And jati here is species. So if we take one by one, guna. Okay, guna means attribute. So we say, oh, that person is very intelligent, or the intelligent. It's like, when Bhagwan Shankaracharya went to find Mandan Mishra to do an argument with him, he said, well, which is Mandan Mishra's home? And the villagers told him that go find, there are, it's a village, so there are rows of houses. In any veranda, there will be a parrot who will be chanting the Vedas. Parrot is chanting the Vedas. That house is Mandan Mishra's. So there is a pointer, guna. There's a pointer. Okay, that is how we come to know. He didn't know who Mandan Mishra was. He didn't know where he stayed. They said, no, don't worry. You just keep on walking, and you will see one house where that parrot is constantly chanting Vedas. That is his house. Kriya is profession. So what that person is actually doing. Oh, that one, that is, engineer, doctor, whatever, CEO, CFO. So by profession, you point out. So you come to know. Then there is attributes. Then there is relationship. Oh, that person, that's my sister, that's my friend, that's my brother, that's my parent, that's my child, that's my this, that. Most common example that I have given of this is when my children were in school. I was only Neil's mom, or I was Sai's mom. That's it. I wasn't Mrs. Muzumdar or Jaya. He said, oh, that's Neil's mom. Okay, that's so and so's mom. So that's pointing out by relationship, because they know Neil or they know the child, and then they say that's the child's mother. So that's how we point out, who this person is, right? And jati is species. So you see something and you're like, oh, what is that? Oh, that's a reptile. Oh, that's a bird. Oh, that falls in this family. That falls in that family. So these are the pointers by which in our common life, we come to know things. Now, if you take Atma is no guna, no attributes. It's attributeless, nirgun nirakar, right? So how do you explain Atma? Okay, the relationship, when we say there is two people, when I say Neil's mom, then there is Neil and there is me as the mom. There are two people, but Atma is one without a second. So how can there be a relationship with anything or anybody? So you cannot explain through relationship. Jatis, kriya, profession, right? Atma is a non-doer. Atma doesn't do anything. So how can you explain by, he is the one who is the, greatest surgeon, whatever, he's Bill Gates, he done so, but he has not, Atma doesn't do anything. So how do you point out by profession, kriya? And then jati, it's beyond jati. There is no species. So that's why it is an ashcharya when yet people start talking about Atma. That's why it is wonder, because all our, in normal life, these are the four by which we identify people, or people or anything, we come to know. Knowledge happens through these four avenues, and all these four avenues are closed for Atma. They cannot exist for Atma. They don't exist for Atma. And that's why when somebody talks about it, Bhagavan says it's a great ashcharya. And then those few people who are listening, it's an even greater ashcharya, because nobody wants to listen about Atma. Nobody wants to listen. And among them, if somebody realizes, whoa, that's the great test. In 30, he concludes this topic. Dehi nityam abadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi. Last, do not grieve. This, the indweller in the body of everyone, once again, is ever indestructible, O Bharata. And therefore, you should not grieve for any creature. Creature here includes all, this thing, all birds and animals. I know people have grieved over their pets, like I have, just like my mouth has just totally fallen open, when somebody's, the amount of things that this person did for that cat. The guy used to come in home and give IV, apparently, to keep the, like, how much will you go? Actually, it was told to put that cat to sleep. And I imagine the amount of attachment. And no. And so, and how much money, of course, this person has the riches. So he used to come every day to administer IV to this cat. This is a true story. Yeah, this is not story. This is true. Then there was a whole cremation, like, a whole process. And then there was closure for a cat. That is how attached people are. That's why Bhagavan is saying, again, once he's saying, please understand the indweller, this the T capital, indweller, I capital, referring to Atma, is of everyone. Everyone means what? Everyone means not just humans, animals, plants, stone, whatever. Atma is there even in inert objects, I told you, as existence principle. Okay? You should not grieve for any creature. You will feel sorrow. You should feel, because it's not like the mind is dead completely. You must feel sorrow, but to get overpowered by that sorrow, but to take it to certain heights where, like, okay, whoa, come on now. At least when we are in this, that's why all emotions have to be under control. The example that comes to my mind is, I think my aunt used to tell me that something in my childhood. She said, have you ever seen floods in the ocean? Does the ocean ever come out of its boundaries? Ever? River does. There is flood in the river, the water will overflow, it will do a lot of damage. Has the ocean ever come out of its boundaries? And the reason for that is, it is apara, we have seen, it is limitless and it is very deep. There are no limits, there are no boundaries to the ocean, and it's extremely deep. So we have to be like that, deep and limitless. To become limitless, to become infinite, we have to understand our oneness with that Atma. Because as a body, we can never be limitless. We have limits, body has limits, mind has limits, but the Atma doesn't. And when that happens, you will never cross your boundaries of emotions. You'll never cross. You should not cross. So as spiritual seekers, we should try to do it. It hurts. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. It hurts. But keep it under check. Try to keep it under check. And the more established you get in this knowledge, and that's why we need this repetition. That's why we need the classes. The more we get established in this, the less we will start reacting to the things that are happening outside. Response has to be there. Reactions have to be avoided. This here he concludes the absolute topic. After that, it's going to get real easy. So are there any questions so far? Please ask, because now it's, it's at our level. Any questions so far?
Jayaji?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to know the difference between, you said guna, profession and all that, and with pramanas. Anumana, Upamana, and all that. What is the difference between those two? Why you said this?
No. Pramana is a means of knowledge.
Okay, this one is?
That's totally different. It's a means of knowledge. And there are the 6 pramanas,
Yes.
right? You know, pratyaksha, anumana, upamana,
Anumana, Shabda, and all that. Yeah.
that is means of knowledge. This is by, it's not, see, these things, this is how we understand. It is not sort of a pramana. So there is direct perception. Okay, now take an example. I'm in a crowded room and I say, I don't know where this person is. So I ask somebody, you know, where is the, my eyes are open, I have got pramana, I'm seeing a whole room full of people, and I'm asking this person, where is so and so? Now what she says, oh, you know that person with the blue sari, that's her. That is then pointing out, that is attribute. So that person who is wearing a blue sari, my eyes are open. So eyes are the pramana, but still I cannot see in a room full of people. I don't know who it is.
Okay.
All right. Or I say, oh, you know what? I need, somebody comes and asks me, you know, I have got this problem. I need a doctor. Do you know? Oh yeah. Okay. You know, so-and-so person, call him. He's a good doctor, or he's a whatever, heart specialist. He's an eye specialist, whatever profession. So I'm pointing out by profession. That is the difference. Pramana is totally different. That is the means of knowledge. Those are the six types of pramanas that we have.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So if somebody comes to me and says, I want to know about Atma, then I'm going to say Shabda Praman. You go to Shruti, read Upanishad, read Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Thank you, Judge.
Any questions? Any other questions? Yes.
Going back to the, excuse me, going back to the point you said about the logic for birth, in the grander scale, then when we talk about the world and the kind of rebirth and then pralaya, the witness there is the Brahman, right? The consciousness principle, which is why the world can have that birth and death, right?
Yeah, but from a higher standpoint, as from the standpoint of Brahman, actually no creation is happening. From our standpoint, it is happening. That's why we have not seen the creation of the world. Have you seen it? When you were born, the world was already there. We have not seen it. We can't see it. That's why also that is another logic that is given. That the world comes into existence only when your mind is functioning. Where is the world in deep sleep? That is the logic given for the world, for the falsity of the world. That only when your mind is functioning, only when your mind is active, there is the world. Otherwise, there is no world. Example is deep sleep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we are starting with a new topic now from 31 onwards.